not over for you. It is never over until you decide that it is. It's never, ever, ever over. And I just wanted to bring a little bit of some dirty glasses, obviously, but some motivation to you because today's my 24th birthday. Can't believe it. How did I turn 24 that quickly? And one of the things I learned this year, I mean, I could have did like 23 things I learned in 24 years. But I wanted to bring this one really important thing that I learned this year, and it's that giving up and failure only happens. Well, failure is only the thing that happens to the person that gives up. If you don't give up, you never fail. You only learn lessons. You only fail once you decide to quit and never go back. You don't even fail if you take some time off. If you're doing something with your life and every day just seems hard, like you're just working to get to a certain place in life, and you're going, like, not only are you working to get a certain thing in life, but you have family issues, then you have relationship issues, and then you have personal issues, and then you have health issues, and life, maybe you have kids, and then you have issues with your kids, and then your kids have their own lives, and they go to school, and they might work jobs, and now they have all those things. And let's just say you're not just in a relationship, you're married, you have that entire person's life also affecting you. So it's never just you. Even if you aren't married or you don't have kids, you still have a lot of things weighing on you. Maybe your siblings, maybe all the endeavors you're trying to do with your life, maybe whatever season God is calling you in, and you're trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to really be doing right now? Because this is kind of insane. This is kind of crazy. Like, this is kind of hard. But I'm just providing a little bit of motivation that it's literally not over until you decide you're done trying that thing. Keep trying, keep going for it every single day. I don't know where I got this quote from, but in college, in undergrad, I wrote this thing on my board. I don't know where I got it from. I do not know. But I wrote, as long as you are breathing, there's a reason to try. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but that quote got me through undergrad because it was really difficult because it was just a situation of, like, I was in college for the first time. Like, obviously that's a big life change from high school. But as far as, it being really difficult, let me actually see something here with my laptop. But it was a really, really difficult change for me, and Paxton and everyone that's watching now and watching the recording later, but I really don't know where I got that quote from, and I heard it after I left college, after I graduated, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a thing. Like, I remember writing this on my board. I don't know if it's something God just told me or whatever, but it single-handedly got me through because it was like, okay, you don't fail unless you stop trying. Like, you might fail an exam, or you might fail a class, or you might get a grade you weren't expecting or you didn't want, or you may have just really, really struggled to study for an exam and you, like, passed by, like, the hair on your head. Like, I graduated great. I graduated high school cum laude. Like, I've never really struggled with getting through school, but it is a lot of work to stay in that excellence, and that's where I struggled a lot, is staying above water and feeling like that's always been the striving point for my life. People might talk about purpose and they're like, what do you think your purpose is? For me, I think my purpose is to remain elevated above water. Like, for me, success and purpose is having enough resource and, like, built up, I don't know what it's even called, just built up resources, being able to stand on something stable, so that when I know that the, like, waters are going to come rushing, the wind is going to blow, things are going to shake, but because I have taken time and had the ability to build something up, it allows me to have security and happiness and kind of just a mental stability when when life seems like it's getting hard, because life is always going to get hard, and I find my security in the in between time. So in between, let me see if this is streaming properly, but so let's just say the month of January, right? January 1st to January 31st. You're going to have times where you're having a great month. You're having a great day, you're having a great week, but there's always going to be times where you're not having a great day, or you're not having a great hour, you're not having a great 10 minutes, you're not having a great week, whatever the case may be, you're not having a great 3 days. So let's just say that. Okay, just checking the audio. But let's actually push this down a little bit too. But you're not going to have the best time all the time. And so what I like to do is prepare myself for those times. And one of the ways that I do that is really, I don't know, like even more so like stockpiling. Like technically that's bad, but it brings me a lot of security to like stockpile money, stockpile resources, stockpile just stuff, like important stuff, so that when the ground starts shaking, when the leaves start to fall, when the rain starts to fall, when the ground starts to shake and the wind starts blowing and everything else, I can still feel like I can push forward, like I'm not being completely just swept away and having to rebuild. But when I was in college, I didn't have knowledge of that until like this year, right? So when I was in college, I just really used that quote to get me through. It was just like, yeah, like you've got to just keep going. Like you don't have another choice. You don't have another option. You don't have any other, like this is the only option. And I hate that feeling of like, this is your only option. This is your only option. This is the only thing you can do. This is the only income stream you have. This is the only friend you have. This is the only opportunity you have. This is the only, like I hate that feeling. However, this year taught me it's never over until it's over. So even if you have one friend or one income or one job or just one thing that's holding you, like let that be the thing that keeps you grounded. Like when I was in college, I had this big idea of just like, oh, like having all these things stacked up and all these like having money stacked up, having a very large savings, a very large Roth IRA, like maxed out, like everything like that, because that's what kept me secure. And it very much does. But now that I'm older, I'm seeing like, yeah, I have all those things, but they can easily be taken away. Like the value, like, cause think about it. You have a big saving account of $10,000. That's not big. It's just decent. That's probably like a few months of savings for a lot of people, like living. And you think, I have all this money, and then something happens and you have to go into surgery, and the surgery is $20,000. Poof, the money's gone. Or your child has to go into surgery. Poof, the money's gone. Or you have to fix your car. Poof, half the money's gone. Or you need to fly somewhere for something, or you have three big expenses come in a row. Poof, the money's gone. So for me, like now that's less security. Like seeing the money, or seeing the friend, or seeing the resources I used to really value don't really hold that much weight anymore. What really the value is in who I'm becoming. It's about what I can have. It's like when everything is stripped away, who am I that I can build it back up? What source do I tap into? Like, who is the God that I call on when I need to do something? Instead of looking to the resources I already built, I I look to something new instead of looking to the past, because when you're building up resources, you're technically looking to the past. You're like, everything I like, your everyday life is centered around building something up for later. And so when later happens, you're looking to the past and you're saying, oh, I built all this stuff up 6 months ago. Great, now I can use it. But that doesn't mean that much to me anymore. It's about like, okay, if everything gets swept away, do I know enough to build it back up in a month? Do I know enough to rekindle a friendship? Do I have enough emotional intelligence to build something up that falls down? Like, do I have enough intelligence to not just be safe with what I protected myself with, but to excel above everything that's shaken me? So it's really not over for you until you decide it's over. And I would encourage you, I'm even encouraging myself with the same thing, like, you have to keep holding on until there's no more holding on. And this is a weird paradox, because you can think there is, like, no, you could say nothing's real, everything's energetic, everything's constantly vibrating. Everything's constantly vibrating. Nothing is really set in stone. Nothing's really permanent. Like, things can change just like that. But in real life, when you get older, I'm starting to realize, like, I don't have anybody else paying my, like, I mean, for the past 4 years, not even 4 years, for the past 7 years, I haven't had anybody who's 7 years. I haven't had anyone who's required to do anything for me. Now, there were people helping me, and when I say people, I mean my parent. But that was with something that I, like, genuinely couldn't afford. Then when I got my first job, it was like, bye guys, nothing else. So it's been a really difficult past 2 years for me, just in my pre-independence, like, seeing how you come into independence. And so now that I'm in my independence, it's like, okay, what actually matters? Does storing of all these things matter to me? Or is it more so like those things really still matter in the back of my head, but it's more so like, who am I becoming? Am I able to withstand the storm? And so when I think about this, like it's not over for you. That's when like, okay, if I'm going through something, it's not over until I decide it's over. Like, that's where failure comes, is when I decide it's over. So am I strong enough of a person to withstand the storm and not decide that this is the one that takes me out? That's really what I've learned in the past few months up until this age of turning 24. It's like, when everything seems like it's great, and then a few things flip on their head, are you strong enough? Have you gotten enough of the value out of all the lessons that you're learning to apply it to your future life, instead of relying on the resources that you may have built up for yourself? Because those are extremely important. But resources can be gone, like, in a split second. How prepared and equipped are you to withstand the storm that, like, could take you out? But I have to realize, like, nothing technically is real. Anything can, the way it can flip on its head, it can flip right back. Like, there's really no amount of time where things are for certain failure. Like, you can't start a business and then if it doesn't work in 6 months, you're like, oh, this is like the signature of what it means to fail. Like, that's not real. Or you can't say, oh, I made my highest grossing month, I will never go back to anything less. That's not real as well. You can't say, okay, well, I've been making 5 figures every month in my business so far, and now when I go back to 0 or I go to 4 figures a month, then that means that I wasn't meant to have a business, or I'm doing the wrong thing. Like, how strong are you to be able to weather through the failure? Like, to weather through the lessons and not make them a failure, because the failure only exists when you accept it as a failure. When you go to try something in life, and you enter yourself into the game, you're like, I'm participating in this. Maybe let's just say a job search. You decide, I want a job, I'm participating in this game. So you go and you start searching for jobs, and then you find a job, and then you apply for the job, and etc., etc. If you never stop going towards that job, eventually, at some point, in some time, that job will be yours. You may have got declined from it 3 times, and the 4th time they hire you just based off the fact that you're so passionate. Or you might not even sign or start a interview process or application process, but because you showed up to their place of business and you were fully dressed and you were fully prepared to get that job, you got it, right? So there's no such thing as failure, really. It's more so, are you, like, what you accept? Because if you keep trying, that thing will be yours. Like, it doesn't matter. And so if you can think to yourself, like, objectively, like, close your eyes if you're watching this now or later, and think about the thing you really don't want in your life and how you plan to get out of it. You're like, okay, this thing is really stressing me out. This is exactly how I see my way out of it. And if I do not quit, if I do not accept anything besides lessons, if I do not accept anything besides lessons, I will succeed. If you accept lessons and start adding, okay, well, I had this lesson, then I had this lesson again, and then this lesson, and then that lesson, and then you try to make a math equation of failure. You're like, I took the lesson, the other lesson, I learned all this stuff, and you make it equate to failure. Nobody did that but you. And I was talking to myself this morning. I was like, dang, like, all the stuff that I want in life and the new monetary milestones that I have for myself, not just for this age, but like just monthly income that I want to reach. The fact that I haven't reached it yet is not God's fault. Like, my little $100,000 monthly goal that I'm like learning to achieve, the fact that I haven't achieved it yet is not God's fault. God is not like, Kalia, you just can't have it yet, because nope, you're not supposed to. Nope. It's because I'm scared. I'm protecting myself against what my life is going to look like. The friends I will lose, the family I will lose, the relationships I will lose, the free time I will lose, the changes that are going to happen in my life. I'm protecting myself against all those changes because I'm scared. And I'm allowing myself to get all the lessons, but I'm getting them too slowly, and I'm letting them accumulate into making it feel like failure. I'm like, bro, why don't I, like, if I look at my life objectively, nothing's wrong. Like, if I look at it objectively, and I like fast forward to February 1st, I can pay all my bills, I'll have 0 debt, I'll still have like an 800 credit score, I'll still be like driving a paid off vehicle, like I will still be on my goals for saving for the year. Like, objectively, if I zoom out so much, there's nothing wrong with my life. There's nothing wrong. But I have this weird thing about my brain that doesn't allow me to see the goodness in being content. It sees goodness in the evolution. So it's like, if I'm content, that's like great, and it lasts like 2 seconds, and then it's like, okay, now think bigger. And I've tried to stop myself from like thinking bigger, from achieving bigger, from wanting bigger. But clearly, there are some lessons that I need to learn along the way that I'm supposed to be sharing on YouTube and Instagram. We're not going to talk about TikTok don't exist no more. But there's clearly some things that I'm going through, like this one lesson I'm talking about here that I'm learning so that someone else on the other side of the screen can be encouraged. And I was also thinking to myself today, like, well, hold off on that note. But because I am doing fine with my life and I would just be so grateful to experience more, I'm going to learn lessons through that. And every single lesson I learn, I get to share with you, and you get to be encouraged all the time. And so I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm feeling like it's my birthday. I'm sitting and recording a YouTube video because that is the thing that literally lights me up, just talking about the things I'm learning and being able to encourage people and just share my story. And to me, it was like I wanted to go on YouTube and watch some of my favorite YouTubers. One of my favorite YouTubers I love right now is Erin Lyons, and she's more like a spiritual person, like a light worker type of stuff. I'm not really too sure really about it, but I really love the way that she speaks and what she speaks about and what she stands for. And I was like, I can go watch her video, but I can just as well, like, I know that I possess the need, like I possess the requirement to be the motivation for other people. So while I get up and I'm like, oh, I want to go motivate myself, and I go watch Saba Ali, or I wake up and I go watch Erin Lyons, or I wake up and I watch Alexis Smith, or I get up and I watch all these amazing women, Mina Irfan. I watch these amazing women. And what about the people that have found my page? My crazy, I just announced that we hit 70 subscribers. We just hit 82. Like 2 days ago, I filmed a video, my live, and we were hitting 70. And now we're at 82. Crazy. And I want to do a giveaway at 100 subscribers, but don't tell anybody I said that. But I also can be that because people are going to resonate with me on a different level than they will with those people. So when they want, this type of advice, they go to that person. They want this advice, they go to that. When they need blah, 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 blah. I don't specifically know what people are coming to me for, but the only thing I can do is show up, because there could be 2 people that come across this video today. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm subscribed to this girl, Kalia. I'm going to go on her YouTube and go watch the live that I just got notified she posted. And it's amazing because there's going to be somebody who's encouraged by the fact that I just told them it's not over until you accept the lessons as failure. Like, that is amazing. So I literally hopped out of my bed and I was like, I gotta go tell them this because it's so true. And the thing about it is sometimes we see the lesson 1, we learn lesson 2, we learn lesson 3, we learn lesson 4, and then we're like, this is kind of hard. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if this is God's way of telling me I'm doing the wrong thing, and I'm literally just sitting like I'm doing something that he sees as a sin. Like it totally confuses you when you start learning all these different lessons. But when you don't take them as failure is when you succeed. Like, don't take it as failure. And I was gonna say that when you start, like, you get all these lessons and you start to feel like they're hard, you accept failure faster than some other people. Because some other people are like, well, technically everything else is fine in my life, and I have this one goal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna stand strong in this storm. If it wipes me out, so be it. Fine. I'm fine with everything wiping me out. But I'm gonna stand strong until it wipes me out. When it wipes me out, then I'll go with the waters. But I'm not gonna assume I'm gonna get wiped out and just hop in the water. Like, that doesn't make sense. So these are the perspectives I really want you to shift. Like, if you haven't been swept away by the water and you still have breath in your lungs and you still have the ability to keep trying, if you jump in that water and let that water take you, when you have the ability to keep like, what do they say, wade in the water, like, literally, I don't even know what that really means, but like, don't let it sweep you away, because it's not a failure. Like, if you are standing in the water and your feet start to get like tired of standing and you start to feel the rocks under your feet, you're like, dang, like, I'm standing in this river and the rocks under my feet are starting to hurt and my kneecaps are starting to buckle and the water is getting higher. You're not swept away yet. If you can observe all that, you're not swept away yet. Unfortunately, you're not swept away yet, so you can't jump in the water. Don't let the water take you. Like, it's so interesting because I bought a speaker, cute little speaker, and it was hooked up to my computer, and I was listening to a YouTube video, and I took the speaker to the kitchen so I could cook some shrimp scampi maybe, or something like that, maybe vodka pasta, something. And I was in the kitchen, and then I took the speaker too far away from the phone, right? Because I'm going all the way to the kitchen, and it starts to break up. So think about a kitchen table, right? One side of the table I'm on, it's not working. And I walk 10 inches, and I place or not even walk 10 inches, I reach 10 inches, and I place the speaker closer to the other side of the table that's facing my room. So now the speaker is 10 inches away from where it originally was, and I can hear everything perfectly. And it just sparked that in my mind, like, that is amazing. Because when you think about frequency, at some point, there's a point of breaking. But up until the millicentimeter, to the 0.0000001 millicentimeter, it'll still be connected. So now, if I were to decide, dang, like if I walked in the kitchen the first time and I didn't think about the fact that, like, okay, I could just move the speaker like a few inches closer to the room and like eventually it'll connect. I don't have to go back to the room because it's a speaker, like it's a Bluetooth speaker. So at some point, there is going to be connection within this kitchen. I just need to move a little bit closer to the room. And so it really made me think, like, you could be at the cusp of your knees buckling, and that's when the water shallows out. Do not fall away with the water, because everything is going to be so, like, everything is down to the millisecond. Like, there's always opportunity. Like, if you have breath in your lungs, if you have at least one breath left, if you have one go at it left, take it, because your knees aren't buckled yet. Your knees aren't buckled. Like, you're not in the water. You're not. You're really finding it hard to stand up. You're finding it hard to keep going. You're finding it hard to just move and like just keep going every single day. But if you woke up, keep trying. It's not over. Like, don't choose something else. Keep doing what you're doing. If it's different if you know the thing isn't for you. That's different, okay? Bestie, nobody's telling you to go do something that's never worked for you and that you're not even built for it. You don't even like people. You're trying to start a business. Like, nobody, like a customer service based business, like, nobody's telling you to do that. But if you have something in your life that you know is working, that you love, that you enjoy, you're just going through hard times right now, remember, there's like 0.0001 millicentimeter between your knees buckling and you actually falling in the water. If you haven't actually fallen in the water yet, hold strong. Like, even if your knees are buckling, even if the water is coming up to like your chest, hold strong, because the water, like, just because it's up at your chest does not mean it's going to go over your head. At some second, at some moment, the water will shallow out. The waters will calm at some point. And you do not want to give up right before the water is shallow. Now imagine you were let's even say you were walking across this river. So you're at one side of your life, and the thing you want is on the other, obviously on the other side of the river, and you're walking. The water is getting higher, it's getting steeper, it's getting deeper, the rocks are getting sharper, like your knees are starting to buckle, your legs are getting weak. If you keep going, eventually you will meet the other side of the river. Eventually. It might hurt, it might take you longer, it may not be the most comfortable, but eventually you will meet the other side of the river. So it's literally not over for you. It's literally not over. Like, it is not over till you stop moving towards your goal. So if you have something that you already love, you already know that you are so obsessed with this thing, you know that, like, this thing is for you. Like, for me, I have always loved speaking. I've always loved ideation. I've always loved communication in general. That's always been something I loved. I always loved writing. I wanted to become a creative writer when I was younger, but I figured, hey, like, I already write creatively. Why would I go to school for it? I am a creative writer. So that's something else. And, like, I genuinely am just like, I don't care what it takes for me to have a life where those two things are in it. Like, as long as there's breath in my lungs, I can keep going towards it. Maybe right now I have a YouTube channel talking to, let's just say, 10 people at a time online. Like, 10 people join my lives. Or I have 100 subscribers. If I do not fall in the water and I keep going and I take the lessons, like, let's just say the lesson is, don't put your head under the water. Like, keep your head above water. Lesson 1. Cool. Now you won't do that. Or you put your foot down and the rocks are getting sharp. Okay, don't put your foot down. Try to swim with your feet in the water. Cool. Like, maybe you're seeing some type of branch or some type of tree somewhere, and you're like, I'm going to swim to that, to hold on to that, to rest a little bit. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe that, just so many lessons you're going to learn swimming across this river. But, like, at the end of the day, if you keep going, it's going to be there. And so, like, it's just, like, it's only over when you say it is. I was watching a video yesterday, too, and this guy was talking about, like, this hobby that he did. He's now in tech, but he was talking about just delayed gratification, and he tried to do, like, enter into a certain industry to make money. And I looked with my higher eyes, like my higher mind, and I was like, it wasn't the thing that was bad. It was that you left when you had your first hard lesson. Like, you could have stuck to it. You could have reformulated the plan. You could have taken a week break and came back. You could have went and worked a job to save up to be able to go back and do this hobby, or you could have cut certain expenses to be able to afford this thing. Like, there's so many different ways. All the ones I just said, like, I've done that with different parts of my life to be able to achieve certain goals. It's just like, you failed at that thing, and now you see it in your eyes as a failure, and you're just like, I would never do that again. I will never have that again. I will never ever go for XYZ again. It's not the thing's fault. The thing is just there. Like, it's just there. But you are deciding, I don't want to cross this river because it's getting a little bit too hard. It's getting a little bit too crazy. It's getting a little bit too dangerous. But it's never over until you say it's over. If you quit, that's when it's over. When you stop taking the lessons as learning material and you start taking the lessons as confirmation that you're not good enough, that's when it's over. It's literally over. Like OVER exclamation mark. It's done for. Because you are the only thing standing in between you and your thing. Again, like I said earlier, like God doesn't want you to struggle and be destitute and live a life that sucks. And so if you have something that He's placed on your heart and you're like, dang, I really like this thing. Why is it so hard? Like, He's just trying to give you lessons so that you can actually become the person who can hold the thing that it takes. Like okay, let's just say you cross the river this time. Cool. How will you cross the next river, which is going to be deeper? It's going to be harder. It's going to be colder water. It's going to be a longer distance. Like bigger things. If you don't grow to be a person, or you don't gain strength in the first time you cross the river. Like the whole point is to become the person. Like the value is in who you become when you cross, not what you get when you get to the other side of the river. So you actually do become a stronger person by continuing to push through the river. Like to continue to push through the water, you become a stronger person. You really, really do. I feel like that's the only way you get to be a stronger person. And it's almost like if you watch, I have hundreds of videos on my page, but let's just call it 50 hours of content I have on here. It's definitely more, but let's call it 50. If you watch all 50 hours, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to not go through things. I think some people get misconstrued because they say read books, because then you're taking somebody else's knowledge. You're not having to go through their mistakes. Cool, you're not going to have to go through their mistakes, but you're still going to have your own. So when you read books, when you watch YouTube videos, when you engage in people's content, and when you watch people's content and you rewatch videos to get the full aspect of it, and you engage in education, do not be fooled that the education will make it easier for you. You're not gonna have those specific challenges, but you're gonna have your own. You're gonna have your own, and having your own challenges does not mean you cannot be successful. But sometimes we protect ourselves from what we can have because we're scared of the value we will have when we get to the other side. You're like, in your head, you're like, if I get through this thing, I will literally be unstoppable. If I can achieve this goal, like for me, if I can get myself from 4-figure months to 5-figure months to 6-figure months, I will be unstoppable. There's no such thing that can stop me after that, in my head. And like when I say unstoppable, I mean like when I say unstoppable, I mean in business. There's no such thing that can stop me after that in my head. And for me, I'm like, well, I should probably stop trying at my business because like, it's just a lot to learn, and I just like, I don't want to do these certain things. I don't want to, my knees are buckling. I'm trying to gain the strength. But it's like, how will I get the strength if I don't keep going? If I stop, no strength comes from that. And it will actually be harder to try again if I take too long. So take your day, take your few days, take your week to recover. But the other thing about it is like, if you were trying to do something and get to the other side of the river, you have to go back the distance through the same water of how far you got. So you're not just like, here's the river A to B, you're not just going to start at A, swim to 8.2, and then magically just leave the water. Like, you literally have to go from 8.2 to all the way back to point A to get back to land. So if you're gonna go back that distance, if you, let's just say you went halfway, the distance halfway is the same distance back or forward. This is 1, this is 2. So 1 to 1.5. So going from 1.5 back to 1 is the same distance as going from 1.5 to 2. 1 is more comfortable. 1 is easier than the other. Obviously, going back is easier because you know that way. You're like, oh, I just came that way. I know exactly how to get back to land that way. You just take a little few steps back. I don't got to do no work for that. But when you're trying to go this way, you still don't know what's this way. You still don't know what's ahead. You still don't know how deep the water gets. You still don't know how sharp the rocks get. You still don't know. So that's why your body's trying to protect you. Like, hey, it's getting really hard. If you stop now, at least you know you won't go broke, or at least you know you won't lose your whole relationship. If you stop now, at least you know you'll be fine. But it's like, we are ultimately, eternally, like, protected by God. So why is my body trying to tell me that I shouldn't go the rest of the route to get to where I want to get? Because I don't want to be over here. Like, I've already been there. Cool, it's great. I want to move forward. I want to go past that. And my body's like, actually, I want you to feel like all the lessons are too hard. I want you to give up, even though you have, the great ability to speak, you have the great ability to ideate, you have the great ability to do all these things. I want you to give up. I really want you to give up, because I really want you to give up, because if you give up, then you can say that you tried. I'm looking for where I get an award for trying. I don't get no type of award for trying. And this is where it becomes so important, This is where it becomes so important, because this is where it becomes extremely important to keep yourself protected, but not beyond that. So let's just say, like, you have a business and you're trying to scale to 6 figures. That sounds like me. All right. Keeping myself protected would be like having a healthy savings account, keeping myself updated on what's happening with, like, this new guy in office. Let's not talk about it too deeply, but because it really doesn't matter. But like, I just lost my train of thought because I started thinking about something else. But yeah, I forgot. But the thing that's, you know what? I might just record. I just might rewind the video. Like, I don't want to do these certain things. I don't want to. My knees are not. The distance halfway is the same distance that I shouldn't go the rest of the route to get to where I want to get. Because I don't want to be over here. I really want you to give up. Because if you give up, then you can say that you tried. Yeah, basically I was saying, like, that's funny. Basically I was saying is that you don't get an award for trying. And so the only thing that you can really do is try to protect yourself so that when you are going through struggles that you're not going crazy. And this is where it's really important to be true to yourself in your life design. Because if you're going through a really hard time, everything's going to feel like it sucks. But it's going to feel like it sucks more if you're already living a life you don't want. And so if you really lay out your life and say, okay, I really don't want to live like this. I really don't want to have to deal with this. I really don't want to be around people I don't respect. I really don't want to have XYZ issues. Like, I really don't want to have these issues. I really don't want to have these issues. Stop having those things in your life. Because when you go through lessons, instead of focusing just on the lesson and taking the lesson and letting the lesson be the lesson and letting the thing be the cool part, you start you start to focus on how your entire life sucks. That's not your life's fault that you just so happen to fail at this one thing and you already didn't like the rest of your life. You have to be very careful about the life that you live, so that when the times come that you're learning lessons in something, that you're not going to blame your whole life. Like, oh my God, my whole life sucks because of blah, blah, blah. Like, you probably shouldn't be doing those things that you're saying that your life sucks about. You probably shouldn't be doing the things that you're now blaming. So if you're learning something in your business, or let's just say you're learning to be a content creator, let's just say you're learning to speak confidently on camera, fully authentically, which is very important to run a business, an online business, and a lot of people don't have that skill. If you're learning that skill right now, you might have a time where someone comments on your page and they're like, I hate your content, you suck, you don't, blah, 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 blah. If you already don't like your life, you're going to say, F the YouTube, F the talking, I don't want to do this no more, I'm about to quit, I'm about to blah, blah, like I'm not doing this no more. And my life sucks, I need to figure out something to do right now. But if you already like the life that you're living, and this was just a cherry on top, you would say, you know what? I'm actually going to post a video tomorrow because I'm just, okay, they gave me a comment. Now I've learned to take a hate comment. Cool. Move on. Like, that's how it should be. It should be less of this anxiety inducing situation and be more of this beautiful journey. Like, it's supposed to be a fun journey. I think we lost the plot a little bit. We as in me. But that's my priority right now, is like, before I go and do any new endeavors to reach new financial goals or new monetary, same thing, new financial goals, new monetary goals, new business goals, etc., making sure I evaluate my life to make sure that I'm not blaming my life for the bad times that I feel like have hit me. Like, no, if you're focused on your entire life sucking, like, you probably aren't focused on the lesson, because the lesson now feels like your whole life sucks. But this is just one part of your life. And so letting that one part of your life be the one part of your life, let the lesson be the lesson. And just knowing that it's not over for you. But it gets really difficult to do that when you already don't like your life. Like, when you, it's so hard. I've been there. That's how, everything I speak about, I've been there. That's how I can speak about it so confidently, because I've literally been there. I can't speak off of anything I haven't experienced. And at one point in my life, I really hated my entire life. But it was so difficult to only focus on the lessons of the things I was learning, because I hated my entire life. Like, I hated it so much. And so it was just difficult. It was so difficult. It was like impossible to only focus on the good. It was impossible to only focus on all the amazing things happening. It was impossible, because I let my lesson overtake my entire life, because that was the one thing I was riding on to make my life good. That was the one thing. I'm like, if this just works out, then my life will be great. It's like, no, we need to reevaluate your entire life first to make sure that you at least like your life, like the people who are in it, like the things you're doing, like the way you're making money, like the resources you have, like where you live. Let's like our life first, and then it won't feel like we're just riding on the one thing. And the best part about it is that then the lessons turn into love. You learn to love the thing you're doing. You're loving the journey. That's what makes it work even faster. And so when you're loving the way that you're like as you're crossing the river, you're feeling yourself getting stronger. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I'm now stronger. I can use this in the rest of my life. This is like, I'm learning so much. You start to love the actual journey itself, which makes the journey feel so much better. Like, if you're crossing the river and all you can think about is how strong you're getting and how much more informed you are and how much more equipped and prepared you are for the rest of your life and how transferable these skills are, you're actually going to have an easier time getting across because you're not mentally blocking yourself. So it's many different layers to it, but you're go ahead and make sure that you love the life that you live so that when you get lessons, they don't feel like you're being burdened or that you actually hate your life. When you actually don't, you're just riding on that one thing. You put all your eggs in one basket. Don't quit if you haven't been swept by the water. I do not want anybody in the year of 2024 to just jump in the water, like feel like I'm just gonna let the water take me because like my knees are buckling and I'm so tired. Like, go to the side, go grab on a branch, take a break, and then keep pushing forward because there's nothing back where you came from. There's nothing back where you came from. There's nothing there. And you get stronger through the water. And it's not and what's important is not what you get on the other side, is who you become through the weight of the water. Like, who you actually become after the water has shallowed and you can get to the other side just fine. But the lessons are hard. But the best part about it is if you already know there's going to be lessons, why not just take all the lessons? Like, if you know there's going to be lessons, get through them fast. Like, don't take a, like, for me, like, the best thing that happened to me is the fact that I learned the 10x is better than 2x rule, which is basically having 2 priorities in life. So write out your top 10 priorities, take a nice marker, X out 8 of them that don't get you to where you want to go right now. Look at the 2 that get you to where you want to get right now. And only focus on those 2 very intently. Half of your intention on one of them, half of your intention on the other. If you're not doing either one of those 2, you're not doing anything. You're resting. You're only focused and intent on those 2. And then that allows you to get really far in those things instead of being focused all across your life. And so someone commented, bro, enjoy life. God gave you it. Facts. You have to enjoy life. Life is so important. I mean, life is technically all we got. It sounds kind of bad, but no, life is all we have. Like, you know, but there's so many gems, so many lessons throughout this. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you're watching, I actually started to do the comments on this computer instead of my phone so that we can have better quality videos because that's very important to me and better audio. So, yeah, it's actually my birthday. I'm probably going to go to just drive around and get all the free food of all the places that can have free food and stuff like that for birthdays. So, it's probably what I'm going to do now. And also get some pretzel bites and cheese because that's my favorite. Like those little circle pretzels that are really soft. Like Culver's has them. I don't have Culver's in this state. But if I could do something, I would live in a Culver's because those are so good. But I'll see you guys in my next video. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching.